Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Josh.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are the Hiking Fools, guiding you through the trails of Glacier National Park. And we love doing it. We hope that you gain some understanding, gain some insight that improves your experience in Glacier, because we just love sharing that passion. And today is something we're discussing what to do in the winter. Winter adventures in Glacier. I've said it before, but the park is open all year round. There's a lot of things to deal with and consider as you're diving into the park in winter. But I mean, there are plenty of adventures, and we're going to talk about just a few of them, and hopefully open up your eyes to all of the things that you could experience in Glacier in the winter. So there's a couple things to consider right off the bat, Sarah. Going to the Sun Road, the most popular, adventure in Glacier, is closed to traffic in the winter. So there's so much snow. It's closed, and you can't get through to a lot of the park. But the kind of the outskirts, we'll say, are available for adventures. Anything you can think of in the winter, and we're going to kind of take that tour in this episode, kind of go around the park and talk about what you can do. And don't forget to consider, the colder temps. It might seem obvious, but we always kind of find that it's probably 10 degrees colder in the park than it is on average in the Flathead Valley. So if you're coming from Kalispell, Columbia Falls, you drive and you go up a little, but you go up into the park in elevation, and it's kind of just a general rule of thumb. I think that we've gone through is 10 degrees colder. Call it that, and probably more snow. And you just never know about the wind and the weather, how quickly it can roll in. But Sarah, I think the most popular place to go is into the west entrance by Apgar and explore that area. Kind of a lot to offer, even in the winter.
Yeah, and I just want to touch base on the caution of avalanches too. When we do recreate in Glacier Park in the wintertime, we generally don't go up too high in elevation, because that's where you could trigger an avalanche and encounter something, get yourself in a sticky situation. So
it's kind of a slidey situation.
Yeah. So
a snowy situation.
Yep. So you got to be careful. So with everything that we talk about, you definitely need to make sure you do your research, and there's places that you can reference that, look up the avalanche danger, and of those, Josh.
Yeah, well, she said do your research, but luckily we have experts doing that on our behalf, and accessing those resources is easy. Friends of Flathead Avalanche Center, the reports every day, on our Partner B Broadcasting on this station, report every morning when it's relevant. And so, you don't have to know everything they do. They're the experts, and they communicate it in a way that makes sense. And honestly, give the actual danger of the situation, the level of danger, so what to do and what not to do. And Sarah said it, a good practice in the winter is to stay a little bit lower in elevation.
Yeah, and there's so much to do, even though you can't go up high. If this is your only time you can visit Glacier, don't worry. We'll get you to some pretty cool places. So we're going to go in at the west entrance. We're going to start at, Apgar Mountain, I would say would be my number one choice, right inside the park there. Just before you hit Apgar Village, you can park at where the horse corral is on the road on your way to Glacier Institute. And the road is blocked. You can't get to the quarter circle bridge. So it adds an additional how many miles?
2 miles extra. Win one way, I think. Yeah,
so it ends up being about 11 total. But you walk, the road for the first 2 miles, which is... It's okay. It's
great. You're walking in a national park, so it's just not super exciting. But we've got so much to talk about. Apgar Lookout Trail. In fact, we have another episode that highlights that trail if you want to check it out to know more about that.
Yeah, so I would start there, and then you can go into Apgar Village there. And I would say the bike trail is a good place where you can cross-country ski or even snowshoe. You could go into Fish Creek Campground. So the Camas Road is closed if you're familiar with the area of the park, still in the west side here. But you can cross-country ski, Camas Road, and then you can get into, we've cross-country skied at the road closure into Fish Creek Campground, and then all the way to Rocky Point. And we did that with
Yeah.
our kids. That was really fun. And
for
there's
sure.
a little bit of Apgar Village that's open. I believe,
Sometimes, yep.
Eddie's is open all winter with seasonal, hours. So you have somewhere to go if you need something to eat. So we're going to move up the Going to the Sun Road. So where it is closed on the west side is at Lake McDonald Lodge. That's where your road closure is going to sit all winter long.
Yeah, you come in the west entrance, bypass Apgar or check something out there, and it's about another 10 miles that you can go up to Lake McDonald Lodge to the road closure. And, before we get there, let's talk preparation, because you mentioned a few things. You can hike, you can snowshoe, you can ski, you can do any combination of those things. And that's one of our favorite things to do, is kind of a multi-sport adventure. We'll highlight one of those in a moment. But, as you're going in, don't forget, bring all of it. Bring all of your equipment. Sometimes spikes are necessary, to put on the bottom of your hikers so that you don't slip around. It makes, no matter what you have, it makes the experience that much better.
Yeah, if you're on trails, especially on the west side where it tends to be a little bit more full of moisture, in that Pacific rainforest there. So there tends to be a little bit more ice on the trail. So any sort of spikes on the bottom of your shoes is perfect. But you have access to the Sperry Trail. It's right there that leads from Lake McDonald. You got a pit toilet there. The lodge is closed, of course. You can still go down there and explore around the lake shore and stuff. But the Sperry Trail, you can get to Snyder Lakes. You can get to Fish Lake, and you can go up the Sperry Trail a little bit. And again, you're gaining elevation, especially going up that Sperry Trail. So you need to check your avalanche danger. You can some people do Mount Brown in the winter. We have not done that. I can't say that I'm excited to do that adventure, but some people do that. I think that would be a difficult adventure.
Yeah, it would be. But if you're prepared and your fitness level, go for it. But right around there too. I mean, we've done some, basic things. Trail of the Cedars, check out Avalanche Gorge, Johns Lake Loop, the McDonald Creek Trail. All of these are accessible through the winter. And I have to say it again, each of those hikes, we have an episode out there, goes more fully into detail about each of those hikes. Yeah,
we just did Johns Lake Loop with family, and our kids and stuff. And we did have some spikes on our shoes, but we did that. We completed the loop. We got down by the river, McDonald Creek there, and we brought our jet boil and some hot chocolate, and we just let the kids throw rocks in the river and just hung out there for a while. It was a great day. And Josh, you did mention that Avalanche is accessible. You need to actually hike or ski there, and it's 6 miles down the road. So it's accessible, and we have done that. We have cross-country skied in good snow conditions from Lake McDonald Lodge to Avalanche, stowed our skis, put on snowshoes or spikes, and hiked into the lake and back out. It's a long day, ends up being about 16 miles, I believe. And we've mentioned this one before, but that is a possibility. But I do want to warn you, as the snow kind of melts off the road and accumulates, which sometimes happens here in the mountains. We have kind of, this year specifically, has had kind of a poor snow year. They don't want people biking beyond where you should this time of year when the avalanche danger is high. So just make sure you look on the NPS website and see what the warnings are. They're discouraging right now specifically. Don't bike on the Going to the Sun Road. They don't want you getting higher up where you would put yourself in danger. Yeah, I love it. That's one of my favorite things to do. You are always talking about it, or you always bring it up, and we end up doing it. It's that multi-sport. You bring, it's a lot to carry, because the one time we also carried our ice skates into Avalanche Lake. So Avalanche Lake Trail, a terrific hike, and you start from Lake McDonald, you're on skis, and then you put on maybe snowshoes or spikes and hike into the lake. And if you're willing and able, you carry your ice skates. And sometimes, again, all of these things, be careful, but sometimes that's a terrific adventure. Make your way back, and you don't get bored. No, and I just want to mention too, it's not groomed. So if you're used to cross-country skiing somewhere where it's groomed, you're not going to encounter that. And it can be a little bit tricky because the road is slanted one way or the other, and there's a little bit of ice. So if you're up for an intense adventure, I say go for it, because it's well worth it. Others have skied, and so sometimes you can catch the tracks. But
We're just getting started. We'll take a short break, but stick with us. We've got another segment coming right up.
Trees with deep roots stand strong, and so do we. Freedom Bank has been rooted in Columbia Falls for over 20 years, serving the whole Flathead Valley with state-of-the-art banking. Whether you're banking from your cabin, campsite, or kayak, we've got you covered. Freedom Bank, rooted here, ready everywhere. We want to be your bank. Give us a call at 892-1776. Member FDIC.
Welcome back. We are the Hiking Fools, and today in this episode I've been discussing what to do in the winter in Glacier National Park. And I don't think we're going to even cover it all, but so far Sarah and I have given you the first access point, the most popular there at the west entrance into Apgar, in and around that area, Lake McDonald, and slightly further up the road to Avalanche, the Avalanche Lake area, the hike and the Trail of the Cedars and the Gorge. And so that's one good place to adventure. But if you we're going to go up to the North Fork area now and talk a little bit about you get up to Pole Bridge, which is a bumpy ride, especially in the winter as snow is forming and ice is melting. It's a trek in the vehicle before you even get there. So be prepared for that. Plan that in on your time for the day. But once you get up there, you pass Pole Bridge, and Mercantile's often open. We got some cookies and pastries last time we were there, and it's a great place to stop and be.
Yeah, check out their seasonal hours on their website because it can be a little bit tricky. And I just want to note that remind everyone that the Camas Road is closed oftentimes throughout the winter. So your only way to get up to the North Fork and the Pole Bridge area is to go through Columbia Falls and take the North Fork Road. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so we're up there. Same thing. Bring everything you have. I mean, be prepared. The conditions always change, and the conditions might not be what you expect. Last time we were up there just recently here in February in the winter, and we had skis, snowshoe spikes, as we've said. And some parties, a few ladies were heading out on their skis and actually changed their mind and came back because the snow was so packed down. But it's such a neat area, such a quiet area, except for the wildlife. We can talk about that up in the winter. And we've been out here and there. We'll talk about in a moment, southern sector of the park. But up here in the North Fork, a good friend of ours, good hiking buddy, Eric, we adventured and walked all the way into Bowman Lake.
Yeah, we have skied. So where the road closed is right there at the ranger station. So the North Fork Ranger Station is where you will park your car. There's a few spots. They have a pit toilet there for you. And then there's a log where you record. And I believe actually going back to Lake McDonald, there's a log there too. It's good to write your name down. So if anything was to happen, they know that you're missing or whatever. But you can cross-country ski or hike the road to Kintla, which is very long, so you won't get there probably. But if you're diehard, like some people we know,
sure.
you could get there.
It's 15 miles total, so one way. So you can go out and back as much as you're able.
Yeah, and we've skied out across to Big Prairie. We did that last year and came back. And then we've also cross-country skied to Bowman Lake and back. But this year, the snow, it just was lack thereof. So we didn't even actually use spikes. It was packed down, a little bit icy and mushy, and even bare ground we encountered. But it's 6 miles to Bowman Lake from where you park your car. And, in the snow, it's awesome because this is such a wild place. And there's so much wildlife that's moving around that you don't really realize until you have snow on the ground and you see evidence of it in their tracks. So we encountered mountain lion tracks. It was a female with some young. And then on the way back from the lake, we encountered wolf tracks. And that was really cool. And the lake was partially frozen over, and we ended up seeing a couple of people we knew at the lake as well. But not too many people do that. And I just want to remind people that you can, and it's beautiful, and you don't necessarily have to worry about avalanche danger in these areas. Make sure that you do carry bear spray anytime you recreate in the wintertime in Glacier Park too, because you just don't know, snow conditions, what's out there moving around. But pack in, pack out. Just want to remind people of that as well. But we brought in our backpacking chairs and we sat there and we had a snack and we, it happened to be a beautiful day at Bowman Lake, which sometimes is hard to come by.
Yeah, if you can get a bluebird day, it's unbelievable views. These mountains, I mean, they look even bigger, more majestic, covered with snow. It's terrific.
Yeah. So the North Fork area is still a pretty awesome place
Special
to explore.
spot.
Yeah,
Special
it
spot.
is. And like Josh said, hit up Pole Bridge on your way out or in or whatever, and they've got a lot of goodies for you. So now we're gonna move our way back out, and we're going to go to the southern sector of Glacier. And when I say that, that's really Highway 2 between West Glacier and East Glacier.
Right. Follows the boundary of the park mostly.
It does. So on the left side of the road, if you're coming from West Glacier, that is all Glacier National Park. And there's a few spots that you can stop and you can hike. And then even on the south side of Highway 2, which is part of the Bob Marshall Wilderness and that whole area there's hiking trails too. So there's definitely things that you can do in the wintertime there. And I just want to mention Scalp Lock. That is a pretty popular hiking trail.
Sure. Scalp Lock Lookout. Yep.
Yep. And we've talked about that before, so you can look that one up. The Autumn Creek Trail. We did that one. That's over near Essex, and there's various entrance points for that, and it's relatively flat. You don't have to worry too much about avalanche danger as long as you're not gaining elevation. Again, check your stats. And once you get to Marias Pass, you can hit the Autumn Creek Trail too. That's a popular cross-country ski area going from there to East Glacier. It can be a little bit rough, but another place you can snowshoe or cross-country ski.
Yeah, we went up Blacktail Hills with Eric and some friends and had a great time there. Just watch for, the trail, whether there's river crossings or things like that. You just want to be conscious of that. Some of those southern sector hikes involve that, and you probably want to avoid that. You don't have to. But so as we continue, you get up to that Two Medicine area. What a great place to ski. I just love that. The road, again, is closed past East Glacier, get to Two Medicine. It closes sometimes at different points on that road, but if you ski up that road, you can get all the way into some short hikes like Running Eagle Falls, and you just kind of see all of the glory of Two Medicine area ahead of you the entire time. But we've had snow, we've had blizzards roll in on that one. We've also seen some wolf tracks, a little red fox, and so these places are just wonderful.
Yeah, the road is closed on Highway 49, which is pretty kind of a wild place, and there's a lot of drifting. So the Looking Glass Highway, if you're going from East Glacier and you're heading towards the entrance of Two Medicine, and that highway will take you to St. Mary. So that section of the road is closed. And if you turn left into the road that goes back to Two Medicine, that road is closed a little way into. And we've parked there before a couple times and cross-country skied in, and you can access Running Eagle Falls, and you can actually ski or snowshoe all the way into Two Medicine Lake there. Sure. Yeah.
So you're over there having a good time. Many Glacier is kind of the final area of the park that we just want to mention. It's hard to get up there. There's not a lot to do. It's more wintry conditions. It's probably not your best choice or worth the trip in most cases in the winter.
Yeah. If you're really good at maybe skate skiing, then that would be the way to go if you want to access.
It's tough. I'm a big
Glacier.
skate skier. I mean, it's not even terrain. It's so much better to skate ski on a flat surface, something that's been groomed. So that's kind of tough. But Sarah's just saying, if you can get there fast, then go for it.
Yeah, and you're going to have to go through Browning to get into Many Glacier too because of the road closure. So go into Browning and then work your way back into the park. But yeah, Many Glacier would be really cool. I wish that was easier to get into because it's so beautiful there in the winter when the mountains are covered in snow.
Yeah, so that's kind of all the areas of the park. If you skirt around the boundary, there's something to do at every place. So try one, head on to the next, give it a try because a lot of people are intimidated by entering the park in the winter. Just be prepared, check the conditions ahead of time. Check the weather and road closures constantly because things change. The cell service is not great. And so, just past Apgar on the west side and up into that east side for sure. Again, we like satellite communication, like a Garmin Messenger is what we have, able to communicate with people in there because the danger is a little higher in the winter.
Yeah, and actually a lot of these, like I use Gaia. If you pay for the additional fee of Gaia to upgrade, they will actually tell you the avalanche danger too. So that's a helpful resource.
Cool. So as always, you can tell that we just love being in there in the winter, and Glacier Park is open for business if you're willing to have a little adventure and deal with the conditions. But we absolutely recommend adventuring in Glacier, and hopefully it's given you some outline of what's available and what are your possibilities. So enjoy. Check out our Instagram page at Hiking Fools MT to see some great photos from our recent adventures in the winter. And tune in next time. Check out more episodes online. The ones we referenced for sure gives you more detail about these hikes. And remember to follow us on Spotify, YouTube, or Apple Podcasts to get the latest. I'm Josh.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are the Hiking Fools, encouraging you to always go